24 hours, but not actually 24 hours in the life of a director, directing some fast turnaround content. Over the past 12, 15 months, my friends at Detail Films have created so many different pieces of content for McDonald's here in the UK and their social channels. And I have directed a lot of those. Some of them have been a bit more considered and set up, and some of them have been hidden camera type vibes, stuff that they want to have that organic feeling. And on the last shoot of this year, Will, the cinematographer and owner of Detail Films, suggested that he could help out with my YouTube channel by documenting a couple of things. So it's not so much 24 hours in the life of a content director, but more 36 to 72 hours. On the Tuesday, we had a Recce day, and because of the delightful strikes that we're currently having here on the trains in the UK, it meant myself, producer Helen, and Will driving up to Stockport on the outskirts of Manchester, which took about a grand total of 6 hours after I left my front door. We started with a tour of the whole restaurant from the manager there. We were going to be surprising one of their employees with essentially like a flash mob style band, and going off of what little information I had about what the restaurant would be like around the time we were shooting, we set out making a bit of a plan. But we were told there's a good chance we're going to have to shoot downstairs, even though there's this lovely pillar to shoot around. And the restaurant manager informed us that it was going to be absolutely rammed around lunchtime. We were concerned we wouldn't be able to get many angles. But this was likely to be somewhere we're going to have to shoot anyway. So we did a bit of a mock-up of how things might go. We wanted to be a little bit more produced. And this is absolutely nothing like the final thing that we made. But for the client's entertainment, Will shot and edited this together on his iPhone in the time that we were in McDonald's. And then we headed to our hotel, which was on the side of a leisure centre. So we had free swim and gym, which we all took advantage of before finally finding somewhere to eat.
These are the only two that I would have ordered. That's all on Will.
My alarm went off on Wednesday morning at 6:45, and I got half an hour sweat in the gym and a cool off in the pool before breakfast under a chandelier. That's Will foregoing his breakfast to review edits on another project. And then we drove to McDonald's. So we got to the McDonald's, and this is me, Helen and Will setting up as much as we can upstairs. At this point, we're not sure, are we shooting upstairs, are we shooting downstairs? I'd rather shoot upstairs because it gives us more hiding points and camera vantage points, but the client is pretty keen to shoot downstairs. We're shooting this on 4 Red cameras, 6 GoPros, and a number of mobile phones to do some mashup of varying qualities in the edit. This is not going to be a real piece for any of us, but it's going to be fun. We're expecting this person who we're surprising to roll up around 1. We were meant to be shooting a more stylised intro with the band. The client had requested that they had a bit more of a narrative leading up to it, which I think is a little bit contradictory in the terms of the sort of social feel of what they wanted. So this didn't end up happening. And I think that's probably for the better for what they were after. But nonetheless, we were prepared for it to happen. So this is me and Will going out wrecking some spots that we'd seen in the dark the night before, just to see a couple of shots of the band with their instruments travelling to the location and then setting up. It would have looked sexy, but would it have engaged people enough to watch this 60-second video? I don't think it was necessary, even though I wanted to capture it because we had plans with a gimbal and with some long crash zooms to make it look cool. It would have made it more reel-worthy, but is anything that's 9:16 ever really reel-worthy? Possibly for some people, but I've yet to shoot something 9:16 that would be. Less than an hour now until kick-off time. The band have only just arrived, so that's what's thrown out the window, any chances of shooting this intro. So me and Will go and get a load of insert stuff that may or may not be useful later. I just felt like we should get some setting up stuff. And this is footage of me plugging and unplugging a cable multiple times, because getting XLR in the hole in first go is trickier than you would think, giggity. And in the edit, you'll actually see I've used the same shot twice, but just flipped it. And you can see that because the text is backwards. Now, 17 minutes out from our arrival, I've got all the band together and we're downstairs doing a bit of a rehearsal. I said after the day that it felt more like being a choreographer than a director. I'd already picked our remote camera points, but trying to work out the best way to get the band involved around the girl that we were surprising, not get this pillar in the way, be able to have all the camera operators see the action without having too many backs of heads. The restaurant is nowhere near as busy as we've been told it's going to be around this time, which is kind of bad, but also pretty good because then it means that there's less stuff for our camera operators to have to shoot around. We did like a rehearsal, a bit of a walkthrough of what I thought was going to work, and then all of the camera operators kind of expressed what was and what wasn't working for them from where they were shooting perspective to me. So then I adjusted and tweaked slightly what the musicians were going to be doing, and then we did another walkthrough. Ellen, anxiously waiting because it's 1 o'clock, and we've seen some reference images of what the girl looks like, but in all 3 of them, she looked totally different. So we were actually a bit worried that we were going to miss her entirely. So I finally managed to get one of the staff members to stand with me at the door to identify her as she approached. And then at 1:06, the lovely Evie finally shows up. And honestly, we could not have asked for a better surprisee for this to happen to. She was like beaming smiles, got involved, was loving it, pun intended. If this had happened to me, I would have just died of embarrassment. But this was the magical moment that we all wanted. There's some amazing moments that then happened over the next 45 minutes, but a lot of them we couldn't include in quite as an engaging way as you might hope, because there was a lot of copyright music being performed that would have cost a lot of money for McDonald's to clear. So we could only edit around the Christmas tunes that they'd opened with, but it's Christmas content, so that made a lot of sense. Once the first 3 tracks that were the songs we could use were out the way, all the camera operators carried on shooting, but I quickly ripped down the GoPros as I was playing the role of DIT as well as director, and headed upstairs to start copying stuff over, as we needed to kind of get going as soon as the stunt was over to get back to London to start editing to turn around this content in 24 hours. After lots of card copying, we left to hit the road. Then this is me sorting and syncing on my lap in the front of Will's car on the drive back to London. And then I proceeded to spend the next 24 to 36 hours with the help of detailed in-house editor Jess remotely, cutting together 2 variations on the stunt for various different platforms. Not work that any of us would be putting on our reels anytime soon. But with feedback like this from the client, I think we did a great job with what we had. This has been 24 hours, but not actually 24 hours in the life of a director, directing some fast turnaround content. Unsurprisingly, also being involved in the edit, because it wouldn't be a Scott Peters shoot unless I was playing more than one role. Check out this video here for another kind of content job using mixed formats and hidden cameras. And if you still haven't, make sure to subscribe for more semi-helpful tips and interesting insider industry knowledge.